you guys have actually opened up the Pandora's box of Hassan. You have some thoughts on this one, so which is the initial struggle of identifying is there a bias or not.
Yeah, three things, right? And we just at Fairly did a training where this matter actually came up of regarding explainability. So there's three terms I'd like to direct to the audience, right? Reasoning, reason, and explainability. And all of them are related, but also distinct. So we have, just to kind of set the stage, right? DeepSeek came out. It is one of the first open source reasoning models, right? And what that means is that instead of just giving you a straight answer after you prompt it, there's like an intermediary step where it shows its reasoning process, right? And I'm putting an asterisk on that, where you can kind of see that, okay, I asked a question, here's the answer, and I can see that there is some kind of logic to arrive at that conclusion. It might be going back on its initial analysis, revising it. Okay, this seems reasonable, right? That can be a fourth term. And as a result, if there is a problematic result, to an unaware onlooker, you might be thinking, okay, well, at least the model gave me its reasoning. It was reasonable, but it was wrong. So the thing is, because of the way these models are architected, it's not the reason it gave you that output. Rather, if you actually look at what the structure of a model actually is, if you just imagine a giant like sea or a lake, and you have like a lure, a fishing lure, and you just cast it out, right? If you have something very general on that lure, that's something that a lot of fishes eat, it'll pull a lot of fishes that have that type of appetite. So that's your response from the model. Something that's more sophisticated and more particular, you're going to pull out something that has that type of sophistication. So in that same vein, if now you have something where the model is explaining itself, that doesn't really tell you why that thing was pulled out. It's just another layer you're adding onto that lure to pull something out of this big dark lake that you don't even actually know what's going on below the surface, right? The reasoning a model gives isn't the reason it pulled out an actual answer. It could contribute to that, but fundamentally you need something called explainability, where you can actually trace the response from the actual question through the neural network. The problem is the state of affairs for explainability right now is so poor that we can't even get close to like 10% explainability for outputs when we use like an open source model. So that's a huge issue, because now we're living under the illusion that we have some kind of reasoning from a model. And if we then use that reasoning to support or criticize a model's output, if it's biased, we're essentially living with what's basically an illusion. So now if you imagine this kind of cascading, if we have an audit that's happening and there was some problematic outputs and we ask for evidence towards why these outputs were given, it will give you a reason, but it won't be the reason why it gave those outputs.